G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Astropub. How you doing, mate? It's been a while. I forgot
it's been a while.
As I've once
what we look like.
Yeah, I'd almost forgotten. Yeah, but I've been through the walls a bit since last I saw you. But yeah, I'm on the mend.
Execute pissed off one too many emus, which is something you don't want to do. Those are vicious creatures, and especially when drop bears are riding them. That's the dangerous combination.
The timing of when I went up to the bar citizen was kind of interesting because everyone thought like Agrid had knocked me out, or I got into a fight with Crunchy, or someone at the bar, and you know. So there was
you are not a fighter. I know you well enough to know you're not a fighter.
No, I'm a bit of a pacifist, quite honestly, but So today we wanted to do a kind of pitch for the ship showdown. We've been talking about this quite a bit, and we're also, I've been looking at what some of the other people are doing. So there's a whole bunch of people that are pitching different ideas, and we thought we'd go through what people are looking at and what we think, and just see what you guys think too. So obviously, let's know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to do the like, subscribe thing at the start, actually. So, if you like this type of content, like, subscribe, let us know your thoughts. If you want to go the extra mile on Patreon, etc., blah, blah, blah. But with that, Paul, take it away. Where are we going to go? Where do you want to start?
I will also, before we get started, I will also say, make sure you subscribe and like and comment. If you do those things, if you enjoy these videos, as I always say on my channel, if this is the second time you've come back and watched the Inforunners, then you obviously like it. You enjoy our content, so you should be hitting that subscribe button just because of that alone. And if you actually enjoy it, the best free way to support the channel is to like the video, because that will tell the YouTube bots that this is great. So that's the pitch, I always say. But first off, let's go over what is Ship Showdown. So Ship Showdown is a fairly recent thing. It's only been around for 3 years.
Yeah, we've had 3 of them now. Yeah.
3 of them.
We had the pink one, the yellow one, and the blue one.
And the blue one.
I want a red one. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
But the Ship Showdown is it's a community mandated contest where the community will vote for the best ships of the year. And
I think until last year, it was basically a popularity contest, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a popularity contest. What they go through is the initial round of nominations. So basically the fans have to really promote what they want to see, and then CIG takes what they think is the most popular ships that have been promoted to them, and then they put those top 16 on a list. And then that list is each ship is voted up against each other like a bracket. You get a chance to vote for each ship sometime in, I think, September, September, October. And then the winner is announced at the end of September. And then the 3 winners, or the top 4 winners, all get special skins for the IAE, which everyone who buys one of those ships, not in game, but buys it with cash, will get the flares, those skins. And they often come with flares, like specific, like last year they gave us jackets, and the winner got the winner of all of the top got a backpack as well, themed after them. So it's that sort of thing. So
I will say that backpack was very low effort, but anyway, I digress.
It was very low effort.
It was just like they made a backpack and they had like 4 labels, and they just went, "Yeah, there you go. Here's your backpack." Because how cool! I did say at the time. Imagine if it had actually been a model of the MPUV that you carry on your back. That would have looked sick. But yeah.
Well, for those of you who don't know, the little Argo Cargo, the little MPUV, won last year, mostly through meme votes. I am to blame. Most of the community blames me, even though it wasn't my original idea. It was Redlear's original idea.
Oh, was it really?
He was pushing it 2 years ago. And they didn't let him do it.
And you just jumped on the bandwagon and pushed and helped him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and he's also been pushing the PTV. So that's his secondary choice as well. So
nice.
We'll talk. So it's effectively a popularity contest. I am not a huge fan of the way that they do it, but I've talked with CIG, I talked with Tyler about it, and he said that they do want to plan on changing it, but they won't change it until next year because they won't have the assets ready. And like the website people won't be available to work on changing that until next year.
Well, that's good.
But as a result, because it's a popularity contest, it is entirely up to the fans to decide. And so this initial thing coming up in I think this week is this week or next week.
Yep.
This week.
We're very slack and late getting to the party with this video, Paul.
Well, if it wasn't for that drop bear attacking you in the middle of the night with a samurai sword, we'd have been much quicker on the draw. But
this is not going to end anytime soon, is it? They're just going to get more and more ludicrous. You're just going to get
yes. You live in Australia. What can I say? You live in the southernmost part of Australia, so look, why not? But let's go over a couple of the things, because there's lots of big candidates that have been coming out. There's always the big candidates. Carrack is almost always up there. The 600i is up there.
I would say the Carrack and the MSR are the two big ones that I've seen repetitively. Yeah. The Carrack almost always makes it to some of the top brackets. I don't think it won a top bracket at all last year, but that's because they put it head to head with the MPUV, because CIG intentionally spiked the bracket to try to make sure that the MPUV would lose, and it beat the Carrack. Yeah. They were not prepared, as Illidan said, but yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, so the ones that, maybe we should look at some of the other ones that other people are pushing. I think the other big one at the moment is the Mule. A lot of streamers I'm hearing the Mule. So what would be your argument? So we're obviously looking at the PTV, right? Hence the picture. And I think our reason for that is it was the very first of anything in the game that was interactive. It's the oldest vehicle in the game, literally. It beats all the ships, everything. And also, it's really easy to get in game. It's like, I think I got mine for $5 back in the day. I think it's $15 now. But and
you can buy them. You buy them in game for cheap. You can buy them on the website for cheap. They're like $5 or whatever.
I think you need like 5 referrals for one or something like that. Like it's like almost everyone's got one. And it does actually have a lot of skins though. It's actually got I think 6 or 7 skins already.
It does.
But yeah, I'd love to get some love, and actually, it just highlighted.
It's the original vehicle of Star Citizen. For those who don't know, before we had flyable ships, when we just had the hangar module, the only way to get from point A to point B in the hangar, because the hangar would just stretch off indefinitely for all your ships. The best they introduced the PTV specifically so you could get to your distant ships in the hangar module, and then as a result they also made like a cart track as part of like a jump. You could jump over like that through like a hoop.
Well, that star cut they showed off in the recent ISC is literally like a harkening back to that. And I remember when Aragon and I was watching on stream, he was talking about literally about what you just said, the hangar and the jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
and as always, I'm a lore guy, so I'll pitch the lore for you. This is a vehicle that was designed to save lives. Originally, the PTV had an armored roof to it, and it's designed to be small enough to fit inside mining like mines, because the inventor was a genius, wunderkind kind of inventor, engineer.
Right.
And he got brought onto the Oberon project to try to do the impossible and terraform Oberon, which would be impossible for at the time. And during the process, he was in charge of managing the mines as they were trying to dig holes and mines in the ground so they could try to restart the core.
Right.
And in the process, a quake happened and the cave-in happened, and it killed a bunch of the miners who he was in charge of, and he actually caved in on him, and he lost an arm because of it. And they rescued him, but they offered to give him a prosthetic. He said no, and so he went from this like top of the world to absolutely just like defeated. And one of his friends from college got him on board. She just inherited her company from her father, Grey Cat Industrial, and he came on board and had a bunch of ideas that he had developed for when the mining was happening. When he was doing those like kind of mining things, he had sketched a bunch of ideas for inventions to help out the process. So he gave some of those to his friend, but most of them were just kind of locked away. And then like a little bit later, the next generation came by and they kind of like were searching through old patents and found everything from the Pyro multi-tool to the Grey Cat armor and the PTV, which was designed to allow for 2 miners to get in and travel down a small mine, because it's small enough to fit in a smaller mine shaft. And if there was the sign of a cave-in, they could get in and drive out because they could go faster through the cart than they could run. And the roof was designed to be armored, so it would prevent them from getting hurt if they were driving. But when they were developing it originally, they kept having fun driving it around the factory. They realized there's a civilian application to this. And so the PTV is one of the most common sites in all of the Empire, just because it's a cheap to make and easy to maneuver. So.
And they get really detailed with that lore.
Yeah.
Because it's even weird. Like, I'm reflecting that someone went to the effort to make what you just said.
Oh,
yeah.
That
crazy.
lore is detailed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So it has a lot of reverence in the community, and it does, just like the MPUV, it deserves a little bit of respect, and it has one of those abilities because you can pretty much use it for anything. You can fit inside an Avenger Titan. Yep. You can fit in most vehicles and most things with a cargo hold outside of like the original starter ships. So if you need a little buggy that doesn't cost you a lot of money, it's reliable, it's nice, and it's got some history to it.
It's also the smallest vehicle still in game as well. So
yeah.
Well, I think we should have a look at the mule too. So my only concern with the mule is it's the flavor of the month, so to speak. It's the most recent vehicle that we've got. And I don't know. You tell me. Do you think that's why a lot of streamers are pushing the mule?
They want a meme. Most streamers want a meme like the Argo Cargo.
Yep.
And they want the mule because it looks cool, and the problem is that its real purpose outside of being cute isn't really there. It kind of feels like a rock, but less, but it has more utility than a rock, but not by much. And we all know our feel about the rock.
Well, I think as like me and Argid, when we reviewed the mule, I don't think it's worth purchasing at the time because once the cargo refactor comes out, it'll be in game for free. So just earn it in game. That was my whole thing. I was like at the moment, it basically is a PTV for one. They made it so you can carry like 6 little boxes on the outside, but its main function is going to be loading and unloading. And also on top of that, you can clearly tell that they're going to have different size cargo units. So like the first thing I thought of is like, think about the big ones on the raft. They're going to have some kind of truck that's like a semi trailer that carries that stuff. Yeah. That's the one you're going to want to buy, not the small little loader one. So just like ships, you can tell that they're, you're going to kind of want the bigger ones and earn the smaller ones in game. But yeah. So
and I'll say the disadvantage to it is that it's very much more expensive than the PTV.
Yep.
So this PTV is much more accessible to your average citizen, whereas the mule is not. And it has a nice function, but that function is very limited. It's very, very specific. If you own a Cutlass or a Freelancer or that kind of size ship, it might be okay for you. But anything bigger, you're going to want bigger materials, and those ships or those vehicles, be it a semi or like a power loader from Aliens, like a Titan, a civilian Titan. Those things will probably be more accessible and more better for those situations.
We've talked about those in the past too. I think they're definitely going to be a thing once they come in as well. I will say this though, going for both of them, they are both vehicles, so they're both easily attainable in game than say a ship. So one of the advantages of I guess the meme or memeing on something is the cheaper it is, the more people can get it.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what actually happened from a marketing point of view last year with the MPUV? Because I know initially, apparently the head of marketing was a bit ticked off.
I heard through the grapevine, through people, that one of the heads of the marketing department was at first a little worried because he's like, no one's going to buy this thing, and so we're going to put all this effort into a joke that no one's going to buy. He was afraid that the meme was going to be a Morpheus meme, and not a the good kinds of memes. And after the whole thing started up and started going, the head of marketing apparently did something. You know how we've sold so much of these little fucking things? It's just just the turnaround of just how much they sold. And, hopefully that indicates that CIG understands that smaller ships means more people available to purchase it, and more people available to purchase it, you're going to get more money over the long term, because more people are willing to spend $20 for a ship than people are willing to spend $500 for a ship. And you'll end up having that volume is going to of people will outnumber the amount that you'd have gotten otherwise with, like, say, a Carrack. So
and that's something we've talked about for years too, that they've never really I don't know, they've just never really understood volume, have they? But I think that's something I'm hopeful they learnt after last year. And there goes my camera again. Or after this year too, because I mean, just the sheer volume of people they've had come into the game. Yeah, that's true.
As of recently. So.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to have a quick look at any others as well? So what else? What do you think would be coming after the Mule and the PTV?
The Terrapin is pretty well liked. It's one of those things. I don't think that it even has a skin yet.
No, it doesn't.
It's a small ship. Yeah, it's a small ship. It's an intro level exploring ship in comparison. I think it's fairly cheap. It's like I say fairly cheap. Star Citizen.
Actually, it's not. That's probably its biggest
it 200?
I'd have to double check, but from my memory, it's 220.
And yeah, it's a little pricey.
Like you gotta realize that the Mercury Star Runner at concept was 225. So that kind of, and it's now 260. So you're talking $40 to go from a Terrapin to an MSR. And the MSR being probably right up there just behind the Carrack in terms of popularity. So that kind of, it's a really steep asking price for the Terrapin. I think it's, I think a lot of that had to do with how cool it looks, like that armored look that it got. And they kind of, that was back when anytime anything looked cool, they put the price up. Because you got to honestly look at the Terrapin, and you've also got to look at the Prospector. Now, functionality wise, they are pretty much on par, like the bed, the cooking arrangements, the storage and all that. They are all very much on par. But for some reason, it's $70 more, and that is not justified. That's an Avenger Titan above.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you what you're talking about. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather a Prospector and Avenger Titan than just a Terrapin. So So
that's the other one that I've seen. I mean, Freelancer is always up there because the Freelancer always gets to the finals and never gets any love because it's not as good as a Cutlass. The Cutlass sometimes is okay, but
the Cutlass has got a skin twice. I don't think it got in last year. I think it got nudged out by something. It got two. So I got a pink one, and I've got a black and gold CCU sitting in my CCU
It's fine. It's a good ship. It's got the recognition it deserves. But yeah, pretty much the two biggest people who are pushing it, the two biggest groups are the Mule and the PTV.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We may see other ones, but this is a wild card this year. We have a lot of new citizens. Hundreds of thousands of new citizens who can vote, or people who've been following the game at the very least. I don't believe you have to have a game account to vote either. You have to have a game account, but you don't have to have a package to vote.
Well, that was the problem, though. They noticed that they saw last year people were making accounts, and they were, we see what you're doing. I remember Zyla going, we see what you're doing, guys. I just remember that. Because people were making new accounts and voting for the ship they wanted to win. It was quite funny. Because apparently that happened with the 600 Iron Carrack, because they were trying to beat the MPUV. And you could actually see the vote doing this as people were creating accounts. Yeah. It's quite funny. But anyway. And I think they went in and removed all accounts that had voted that were new in the last 24 hours or something, and that fixed it or something.
Yeah. There's some they know enough to kind of change the scales if things get funky. It's a fun time. At the very least, one thing I will say for anybody who's new or people who are old, it's a popularity contest. None of this means anything.
Yep.
you know, vote for the ships you like, enjoy it because it's a fun experience, and embrace the memes.
It's probably got the biggest community engagement, I think, of anything that they do in the year, because we all get in there. I think my biggest reason for the PTV, other than the things we've mentioned, is with that star cart coming. I think a lot more skins for all come out, because you know, if you're on the cart, instead of everyone just being white carts, everyone would be able to have a skin. It would be really cool for everyone. Like, I just see that as like I can see the marketing for it now, the star cart pack, you know, like, and
yes,
you know, but yeah, I think it would be really good just for that alone. That said, though, I do think eventually something like the star cart, they probably open up to things like rocks and mules rather, on the track as well. So we'll see how that goes, but I would be happy with either of those winning.
Yeah. My poll is still PTV, but I would have no problem with them all. The problem is, and this is the thing that's always important to remember, is that CIG is the final. They have the final say of who gets the top 16, and they're going to pick the ones that they think are going to have the most engagement.
Yep.
So that's why you got to prove whoever candidate you got to put a marketing effort behind it. You have to find people, you have to create funny memes, create cool images, do crafty things, get other people excited about it. You have to really push. It's like an election. You know, you got to get the attention of the average person, and you know.
Well, as I said, I think that star cart stuff may give the PTV an advantage if you kind of go, look, you guys have made this track, this is gonna, you know, I think that might be a push that works with their marketing, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously. So yeah, but yeah, at the time of recording, I think literally tomorrow is the start of Ship Showdown. So it's always a fun time of year. And then I think the thing I hate most about it is the wait from the end of it to CitizenCon, because they don't want to announce it, but it's really clear to everyone who's won anyway. That's the worst part, because you can see through the pin-offs, like, that one is clearly won almost all the way along, and it's like, well, it's between these last two, so chances are it's this one. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. All
right. Well, with that, let us know in the comments, guys, below. Which one are you guys voting for? Is it something that's not even on our radar? I do know, for example, Croncy is really pushing the mole. He's really into the mining, though. He's like, oh, it's got no love. And I'm like, dude, it's like one of the only ships in the game that actually has gameplay. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then keeps going, it's been left in the dirt. And I'm like, it's a mining vehicle. Of course it's left in the dirt, you know, like, but yeah. Now I'm just memeing on Croncy, but yeah, he deserves it. All right. Is there anything else you want to hear in the comments, Paul?
I want to know your own thoughts, not only what you're pulling for, but what you don't want to win. What's the one ship that you like that's insufferable, like those one groups of people, as Execute would say, Origin fans, that you just want to see burn, you know, because that's the other thing. So sometimes you can be motivated for the love of a ship, but sometimes you can also be motivated for the hate of a ship. So,
like, a lot of people that had a Carrack last year were very disappointed when the MPU V'd it, but I actually own a Carrack and I voted for the MPU V, and I didn't even pick up the skin. I just wanted the MPU V to win. So yeah, each to their own. All right, with that, he's been Astropub, I've been Execute. We'll catch you in the next one.